John, I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk to us today. Happy and thrilled to announce the Ferrandiere Brut Methode Traditionnelle has landed a coveted position in Gary's top 10 of 2022. First of all, we love bubbles, right? But second, the fact that it's made in the exact same method as champagne with 100% Chardonnay, we were baffled at just the sheer amount of value pack that this bottle has. Talk to me a little bit about your background, how you discovered this, and a little bit about the winery.
Yeah, this is definitely a story of just hanging around and putting in the work and a lot of patience. This is now a third year with Ferrandiere. We're in year 35 with Ferrandiere now. So my father, John Junguenet, he began our company, John Junguenet Selection, formerly known as Wines of France Inc. as well, very generic name. That worked for a long time. We're from France originally, from Fontainebleau, which is south of Paris. There's no wine there. The only link to wine is the Chasselas grape, which is known more for Swiss whites, grew on our castle walls and was transplanted out of Switzerland. That's our only link there. But my dad began importing wines from France in '84. And so I grew up in the whole business. I've known Ferrandiere since I was 4 years old. So my father began working with Jacques Gau, G-A-U, who was the owner, and his family owned Ferrandiere for over 100 years. And Jacques Ferrandiere is a 100-hectare domain in the Languedoc, in the heart of the Languedoc, in Aigues-Vives. And Aigues-Vives is near the medieval city of Carcassonne, which you can still visit this beautiful medieval village. And just south of there, not far from, so in between the Mediterranean and Carcassonne, you have, and about less than an hour drive west of Montpellier, you have Aigues-Vives and Ferrandiere. So this is a ancient saltwater lagoon that was emptied during the time about 200 years ago. So you still have saltwater, salt deposits in the soils here, and it's planted half under orchard and half under vine, and still has orchards. So you have plums and apples primarily there. Still a big source of income for the family there. But what it means having these salt deposits in the soil is that it's one of the only places in France where all the vines can be planted ungrafted. So it's all on their own rootstock. During times of phylloxera, which is now, 140 years ago now, this salt helps resist pests. And for wines, that needs a lot of care, you don't have to use so much chemicals or treat them as much at Ferrandiere, and in order to keep the salt from rising up too high, because we all know salt can kill the roots as well if it gets too high. So every spring they flood with fresh water. There's a canal that runs the entire property. They flood it for 2 weeks. So up to your mid shin, you'll have water, fresh water, to keep the salt pushed down.
And they do that every year?
Every spring they keep the salt deposits down. That said, is it the world's most interesting soil? No, but Ferrandiere knows this. The winery understands it, and they don't try and force out anything too frou-frou. They know they do mono-varietal, so that they're making wines just Cabernet Sauvignon, just Chardonnay, just Pinot Noir, Sauvignon Blanc. But because of their terroir and their cool climate that comes from the Mediterranean, they make really fresh Chardonnay in the Languedoc, in a very warm, warm region. They still have a very fresh climate. So this Chardonnay, in particular, this Methode, by force of working with Ferrandiere for so long now, this wine popped up. They began making the sparkling because sparkling wines have really been popular in France and doing very well. The French first, and then now, in the U.S., we're seeing people aren't really needing to have champagne on the bottle anymore, as much as before, and because the American consumer, all of us are kind of more traveled with our palates with all types of wines. So we know that Cava exists, Prosecco exists, and now the French said, well, if we're in Languedoc, why not us too? So you have great crème all over France, and Ferrandiere said, why not try a Methode? And so the first couple of years, this is now 3 years in only. This is a very recent development, but it's a winery who has great pedigree of making high quality Chardonnay, a state grown Chardonnay. They're not buying any fruit at all, which is even more impressive that the price point can be where it is. And we work with them on things like dosage. So we didn't want the wines to be too sweet either. So we keep the dosage between 3.5 to 5 grams, but more in the 3.5 grams per liter, where your classic champagnes and Cremant are going to be closer to 9 or 10. But there has been, I'm sure you guys sell a fair amount of bone dry Brut Zero, for example.
So you said the dosage here is between 3 and 5?
3.5 to 5, but really we trying to keep it to a 3.5. That was the happy medium there, where anything under, it was very tinny, very metallic, and it kind of left the palate kind of buzzing in not in a good way. 3.5 to 4 was that sweet spot where no pun intended there. It was not sweet, but it gives that nice roundness without being kind of cloying and kind of not going to that toasty brioche side you can get when you start to get higher up, which is absolutely a classic style. The champagne that we import and have for 30 almost 30 years as well is 11 grams. But that's just each house and each different terroir handles dosage and sugar differently, So they're using cane sugar and older wine for the dosage. And then it's 9 months on the rack before disgorgement.
And how much production are we talking?
Not enough.
and we might have to start making magnums if we can.
Exactly. So right now, because I just spoke to Jean-Claude Masse of the Ben Paul Masse this morning, who's the producer. They're making about 5,000 cases right now a year, and they'll be increasing that by quite a bit. So it sounds like it is the United States and Sweden are the top 2 markets for this wine as we speak. The Swedes drink a lot of the same wines as the wines in our portfolio somehow. So I think someone's on our website a lot and just kind of telling the Swedes to drink that. No, they have a phenomenal palate, and there's a lot of great importers, and the consumers are very savvy up in Sweden, Finland, Norway. They have some high class up there, absolutely.
Since you've grown up with this wine, what do you love having or pairing it with?
I love that I can afford it myself. First of all, more than one bottle, which is great. Anything under $20. Listen, we have no problem. We're very old school family, old school French company. So we traditionally, we've said in the past, no ice cubes in rosé, for example, and I'm sure my dad would have said, don't mix this and don't. This is great for that, exactly that. Do whatever you want with this. This is the best part about this wine. It's very versatile. Yeah, this is for us. It's a great aperitif. Obviously, you're going to have it to start the celebration, start the dinner. After that, you can go with all of your cheeses, and a light white meat, like any kind of, like all things. Roast chicken is the best thing for everything. With a little bit of a cream sauce, if you're with that, some mushrooms, you're good to go. Beyond that, sushi, perfect pairing. So if you have a good sushi spot in your town, we're in Jersey. So primarily in Jersey, so BYO is big. You can grab this, have it, from the fridge, hopefully at Gary's, and go next door to your sushi spot. You'll be happy the whole way through. Absolutely. As
I like to say, it's great with breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Listen, everyone has their thing, Brooke.
I mean, it's an amazing bottle, and it's jam-packed full of flavor, and it doesn't hurt the wallet. It's under $20, made in the exact same method. It's 100% Chardonnay from a family-run establishment. Yep. I mean, I couldn't be more thrilled that it landed the coveted number 7 spot in our Gary's top 10.
Yeah, so we really appreciate it. The winery is thrilled. They're over the moon. Absolutely. So we're
gonna. Well, they're just gonna have to make more.
Yeah. If time can be sped up, we absolutely will. So there's a lot coming down the pipeline. So we're looking forward to getting on all the Gary shelves here right away.
Perfect. And I always say Magnum show you care. So you might have to make another phone call.
If we can get glass in France right now, we'll do that. That's one of the big headaches right now, is just getting all that glass. Where is it coming from? We don't know. We're still working on that part.
John, thank you again. Happy holidays to you and everyone and the team at Junguenet Selections. And cheers, everybody. Drink some Ferrandiere.
Santé. Thanks so much.